All right, this is going to be Take It Easy by the Eagles. We got a G chord to start with. We're going to have... Okay, so that's your down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So we're going to start with the G. We're going to have this C chord, but we're going to keep this 3 down here in the bottom. So we got... So I move that 2 from the big string down to the 3rd string, and that creates like a D minor 7 suspended kind of a chord. So we got G again, we got 3 and 4 and... Bringing in the C, bringing that 1 down, do it again, C, D minor type thing. So there's a weird thing there, there's an extra like half a beat that happens there. So it's strange to count that. It's like a 3 and 4 and we'll do the intro again. Think of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that kind of thing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. So that's the tricky part there, is you got to play that kind of 1 and of a new measure, and that becomes your new 1 of starting everything over again for the verse. So it's a tricky little thing they did in there. So one more time, we got 3 and 4 and. Bring in that C, take it down. One and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. So here we go, verse, G twice, then G 2 beats, D 2 beats, C 2 beats. So let's look at that from the verse without that tricky part. So 3 and 4 and. We got G twice, then we got G to the D to the C, then we got G and D and C to G. Okay, so let's look at all that again. We had G, full measure, and that was the down, down, up, down, up. That's one measure. So we had 2 measures of G, and then we went G to the D to the C, and then we went back to 4 beats each, full measure each. So that G to D was a split measure between the 2 there. So once again on the verse, 3 and 4 and. G to the D to the C, G, D, and C to G. Now we're going E minor twice, C to G. Now we're going A minor to C, 3 and 4 and. To the C, E minor twice. Okay, so let's do that whole line from the E minor twice. So we had E minor twice, C to G, and then A minor, C, E minor twice. So so E minor to start, 3 and 4 and. Now C to G, A minor to C, E minor twice. Now we got C to G twice. Again. Now we got A minor to C. And we got G 4 times. 2, 3, 4. Okay, now the next verse is about the same. There's one little difference. We'll talk about it when we get there. So starting on G again, 2 bars of G, and we got that G to D to C and on and on. So 3 and 4 and. Now we got the G to D, C, and then G, D, C to G. Now this time we got E minor to D. Here goes D, C to G. Then we got A minor to C, E minor twice. Now we got C to G twice. A minor C, G twice. So the only difference in that verse was it went from that E minor to a D instead of doing 2 E minors. Okay, so now we're at the solo section. It starts out like a verse. So we got our G, 3 and 4 and. Then we got G to D, C, G, D, C to G. Now we got 2 E minors, C to G, A minor C, 2 E minors. Okay, so that was the guitar solo. Now we're back into a new verse. Now this one's going to be a little different because when we do our G to D, we're going to go to an A minor instead of a C. So watch out for that one. So 2 G's to start off again, 3 and 4 and G, G, then G to D to A minor after this, and then G, back to D, and C to G. Now we got 2 E minors, C to G, we got our A minor C, 2 E minors. Now here we have some upbeats. Then it kind of gets back normal. Okay, so coming from those E minors at the end of that last line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we hit on the and of the 4, so a little bit before the normal C measure. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and to the G. G's on the downbeat, but then this next C is also on the upbeat of that 4. So let's do that whole section. So from the 2 E minors, the C, the G, A minor C, 2 E minors into this upbeat thing. So 3 and 4 and. Now we got C to G, A minor C, 2 E minors, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 4 and 1. Then we got A minor C. Now here, we also have an upbeat on that last G. So let's talk about the last E minor into all these upbeats. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then 1 and 1. The regular A minor C, 2, 3, 4 and on that G. We hold that one. Now we're to the outro. We got 2 C's, 2 G's. You can kind of get a little staccato on this one, make it a little more poppy. Take it E. Now here we're gonna have an F9. Here's kind of the final couple turnarounds. We got the G, and we have the F chord, 3, 2, 1, but we're gonna keep that pinky down there, and that 3 becomes the F9. So then we got C twice, G again, F9 again. We got C, end on E minor. Okay, so let's look at all that again. One and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, we got E minors, C to G, A minor C, E minor twice, we got C, G twice, A minor C, G for 4, because right here we got a guitar riff. Okay, the next verse is just the same, like I said, except for the E minor goes to D. That's about it. We got our solo, which is about the same type of stuff. Then we got that third verse, which is going to be, does the G to D, A minor. So that's the only thing kind of different about that. And then we have, if we look at that last thing again, we're going into the upbeats. So we'll do 2 E minors into those upbeats with the C and stuff. So 3 and 4 and. minor C, upbeat on this G, 1, 2, 3, outro, C, G, we'll do C again. Now this time we're going to one measure each, G to that F9, then we got C for 2, G, F9, C for 2 again, and on an E minor, and alright, Take It Easy by the Eagles. Hope you had fun with that. Thanks for watching Damon's Baritone Uke Joint. We'll see you soon.